Oh boy, did we get some interesting stuff for this episode. What is up, all forms of social media? James Joseph Edward Jesperger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short. I used to do anime review videos like a while back, and then with the new YouTube change and everything, I kind of like deleted them, but I thought, you know what? I get to do whatever I want on my channel, so let's review some anime today. And what are we reviewing today? Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 6, man. I actually debated doing a review of Episode 5 because Episode 5 was chock full of craziness. But today, we're going to review Episode 6 as a whole, and then we're going to talk about specifics afterwards. So if you do not want to be spoiled, you can watch the beginning part of this video, and then I'm going to get into specifics. But anyway, if you're on this kind of review video, you should already kind of know that I'm probably going to spoil some things for you. Like this one thing that... No, I'm not going to do that. So overall, if I were to give this episode a rating, oh boy, it wasn't as goosebump chilling as Episode 5, Season 4. But I do have to say that the action in this was like chef's kiss. It was beautiful. I loved it. It was all good things for me. If I had to give it a rating, so if Episode 5 was like a 10, which is pretty gracious, even though, you know, you could dissect it little by little, I would have to give this episode like a 9 or an 8. This episode was freaking amazing compared to some anime drops when people are like, oh, this thing happened and then this thing happened. Like Attack on Titan, I know there's been some dilemmas with like the music and stuff, which I think is so stupid, but like they did this episode justice, and I am like on like you're like episode should be like you're on the edge of your seat, and this episode was like, oh, what's about to happen? Oh no, what are we gonna do? And I feel like every episode they have planned this last season to be the last season for a reason, because they're not even like some animes you can feel like it's smushing everything together, and these episodes are just flying by. And I watched the whole episode and I was like, wait a second, there should be like 10 minutes left, right? It's only been like 20 to like 15 minutes, right? And I was like, wow, it's been 23 minutes with this episode. So we had some major things happen in this episode, and I'll try and remember all of them. I don't have like a list, and I'm horrible with names. I have a list of Attack on Titan characters here, but I don't even know if I'm going to be able to like figure out their names in time. If I say the guy that was talking to this guy, just go with me. I'm horrible with anime names anyway. So the first thing we have to talk about, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but the first thing we have to talk about is how the Tibor's family, Tibor, however you want to pronounce it, you could already tell that he wasn't the holder of the Warhammer Titan. You could already figure that out. Like, I even knew that, and I'm not even that religiously into this show, but now I'm like, I want to know what happens. Actually, fun fact, I actually didn't like this anime in the beginning. Like, I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, it's cool, but like, you know, it's not really my thing. And now I'm like fully invested. I loved, and I kind of called it. I was like, they're going to make it his sister. Like, it's got to be his sister. We still have those two Titans from the opposing side in the tunnel, and they eventually do get out in this episode, which we saw with the ending, what happens with the male Titan that's coming to fight Eren and is obviously attacked and blown away. We have to bring this up by Levi. Oh my god, I was so excited. Once I saw Levi, I was like, no way. So we got our boy Levi back. I was super excited about that. The next thing that comes to my brain that was something really important that I could probably talk about hours about this was, I love that they changed the idea of Titans not only being at the nape, because I felt like every episode was like, okay, we're going to the nape of the Titan, we're going to the nape of the Titan, we're going to the nape of the Titan. Then they got cool when it was like, you can move your human body around, or humanoid body in the Titan. And now they have this Warhammer Titan that can actually keep it, you know, away from its body, but it's still got to be connected, essentially. So Eren's great idea was when he finally figured out that, like, oh, it's not attacked, and the nape was attacked, and we found out that she wasn't in there. Eren went in and got the Titan and was about to, and I was so excited. You know how like you do things when people are about to do it in like an anime or a cartoon or like a superhero thing? Like I was following Eren as he was like pulling the cord off, and like I guess you could technically say a vein. He was about to eat it like an apple, and I was like, oh man, he's just about to get everything right now. And it was like, nope. We had some interesting things from the soldiers that are with Eren. Like we've seen some interesting character development of like, yeah, Eren doesn't give a shit anymore. We can obviously see that. We can see that Eren is kind of past the point of like, these are civilians, you know, like they did this to us, so why can't we do it to them, kind of thing. And you kind of see that from the other soldiers that are working with Eren. The one guy was like, he's the devil that is leading us right now. We need that in this situation. And like that kind of caught me like, whoa, like up until that line, I was not that I was fully with Eren and the Attack on Titans team, but I was like, man, Eren's got some good points. Like you can sympathize, maybe not empathize, but you can sympathize with Eren. And then when the soldier said that, I was like, no, Eren really is like his own type of villain right now. He is the villain. With the Tiber family he was talking to that general or that military leader, which I think is a huge coward for running around and doing all this crazy stuff. And he was like, I'm going to get my position like after you die and stuff like that. But Tiber kind of knew that he was going to die, or Tybor, however you want to pronounce it. He kind of knew that he was going to die. Like, he knew that he was just the face head, and he needed to tell the story. And I like how they did the flashbacks, too, because it gave you a real insight of, like, yeah, he seems like a cool guy on the exterior, which I thought he was pretty cool, until he said, like, you know, I'm lying about this, and, like, we need to make sure that they look like devils, and they're the bad people. And it's like, whoa, man, like, we didn't see this beforehand. Like, where the hell? So it made it even greater when he was thrown up into the air and Eren just ate him. It was done with him. And it was like, wow, he got what he deserved, and he knew it was coming, and he still kind of like did it. He did it for evil. And the other thing I kind of liked about this episode was we're exploring the spectrum of like good versus evil. And really, you shouldn't think of it as good or evil. You should think of it as a spectrum of like leaning towards good, leaning towards evil. There's like alignments, right? Like D&D. And it just showed me this episode that like no one's really a good guy. No one is really a good guy in Attack on Titans. Besides maybe Gabby and the kids. But like you have to remember, Eren and the other Attack on Titan soldiers were in the same boat at one point. They had no idea what was going on. And these kids are the same thing right now. Gabby just saw 2 of her friends die, and they have no idea where Falco is or any other soldiers that should be helping out. And it's like, you kind of feel bad for her. You're like, yeah, she's misguided. She wants to help. But, like, she just had her friends killed in front of her, and she's kind of like an Eren right now, in a way, if you want to think about it like that. The music, like, not to get into the controversial topics of what's been talked about on Twitter and stuff, but I thought the music, just like episode 5, was good. I thought it was emotionally packed. I thought it drove the scenes. All the animation was amazing. All the drawings were amazing. I had no problem with the art style. That's another funny thing about Attack on Titans. I actually used to hate the art style. I cannot read the comics. This is the comics. I cannot read the manga. This is the one manga that I cannot read just because of the art style. I'm not a huge fan of the art style. I prefer the animation, the anime versus the manga for this. Like, I can't for some reason. So just jumping ahead, we get into the preview, and we have the Beast Titan coming in to fight, and it's like all the soldiers are kind of saying like the only way we can win this battle is if Eren isn't taken out. Like, we need him, and we need to collect his Titan to like win and get the upper hand, and to show how bad these Titans are. And it's like the more they do that, the more people are getting killed. Like, even in the literal beginning of the episode, Eren killed random civilians and the militia. He killed the military right there in front of people. And it's like, as his friend, I never know how to pronounce her name, but we had Mikasa, like, she went in and we really have like a main kind of good leaning spectrum character right now. She's the one that went after the Warhammer Titan and is like doing crazy damage. And it's almost like, who's better at this point? Is it her or is it Levi? Like, you kind of, I mean, I guess you really shouldn't be like, who's better, because they're both at their own peaks and whatever. But she also questions Eren in the middle of the episode. Like, you didn't have to do all this. Like, there was an easier way to do this, and you're just settling with violence. Like, you're fighting fire with fire. These people have been doing this horrible stuff to us, and you're just going to be okay with it. And we see Eren's humanity kind of like fall in this episode. He says something along the lines, I forget the actual quote, but he says something like, well, if you're going to do something, you better do it now. And it's like, whoa, like, where did this come from? And you have to remember, he has dealt with a lot. So, and I know that's no excuse, but like, all these characters have been dealing with something, and it's crazy. But I think I'm going to end my talks there. If you want me to review, watch any other animes, just to put this out there, I do read the manga for Boruto, Dragon Ball Super, and My Hero Academia, so I'm way ahead of the animes right now. But I don't watch a lot of anime, and I want to get more into anime, so please let me know what you want to see or like to hear from me for other videos. But as always, my name is James Joseph Edward Jesperger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short, and I'll always see you guys in the next one. Peace.